There's a lot of people.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, everyone's just getting done eating. We're just
Stuffing your face, huh?
stuff your face. Yeah, pasta and bread and all kinds of good.
All those carbs.
Everyone's phoning.
Oh, that's wonderful. Is Jack with you?
Yes, I'm here.
There you are. We were wondering where you've been. I said, what the heck?
He's out of the picture.
Were you in the, you were at the show, right?
I've been at everything.
Yeah!
Everything.
Okay.
Jack had slept over. He wanted to talk to us while we were dreaming, so he knew all the information. He's a freak like that.
I knew you two would hit it off.
Well, you take a picture of that too.
Okay, so I've got something to tell you guys first, and then we're going to get into the. I want everybody to introduce themselves because everybody's so excited to meet everybody, and then we want to hear about the sting. I want to hear about the event. Okay. You guys settled? Settle down, children. How come my screen's the smallest? Oh, there you guys are. I see you now.
Because you're you.
I'm so small.
The smallest.
Is anyone else seeing Kenny? I only see a circle with a K-E in it, which I presume is...
No, I can see him fine.
I see what? So I see everyone. We see 8 people. Yeah, we see 8 people.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but first I got something to say, okay? So, we have 2 teams here. We have the Latrell team, Latrell, which are all the people who went to, who've been working for the last month to get your characters up. And then we have the team, the event team, that would be you all that went to the show. Yay! And then there's Mark and I and Jack that are kind of in the background. But what the event team did not know, that made a funny buzzy noise. One of the things you guys did not know, make sure this is recording. Oh. Is it recording? Yeah, it's recording. Okay. No, I got film. Okay, what you guys didn't know is that I had 4 goals. 4 goals when I started this. Okay? So I want you to keep these 4 goals in mind whenever we're talking about what we're going to talk about next. The first goal, educate the skeptic community. It was to find you, train you, and motivate you. That was the first goal of the whole sting. All right, the second thing was gather information about how these psychics work. Number 3 was rattle the psychics for future performances by letting him or her know that we are out there, we are invisible, and we can infiltrate. We want them to become suspicious in the future for anything they do, because they're never going to know when we aren't there, because guess what? They ain't psychic. And number 4...
Wait, they're not?
No. And number 4, the last goal that I had was to report back to the community the flaws, the positives, everything that we did that they want to know so that we can train other people and get more people motivated. So what is missing from those 4 goals? That was all our goals. What's missing from that?
Is this a test?
Catching him.
Catching him. Actually catching him.
That was not one of your
That was not one of the goals. So...
Right.
If we caught somebody, that would have been fabulous and amazing and fun and just even better. But you know what? That was not one of the goals. So don't feel... Yeah, we've already done that. But the goal was to do the other things. And you know what? All 4 of these goals are about to be taken care of. I mean, we're, you know, so keep that in mind. Also, I personally do believe we've caught him. Just from the fact that we have that book that he autographed to Zoe and Ed. What the heck? And also a picture, a group picture with you guys in the picture with him. If he was psychic, come on. Would he have taken a picture with you guys? Would he have been there and said, oh, this is great? I mean, come on. right? Okay, so I want
You
people.
can actually see the hidden camera, and he's happily smiling in it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So I want people to kind of. There's the book. Yeah, we've got the pictures up all over our page. Isn't that great? With the little hugs and kisses. So we've been following. So the Laetril group on Peach Pit has actually been following you for the last few hours. I don't know if anybody's. We've been. I mean, Michelle here is in Darwin, Australia, and she was up at what 4 a.m. or something to follow this.
Sleep. I was asleep. I missed that part.
Oh, well, she was up early. And Stuart's been, oh my gosh. I don't think he's had a chance to breathe. He's in Australia following you guys. So we've been following everything. So all the posts that you guys have made, everything that's going on Matt Fraser's Facebook and his event page, plus all the things you've been giving to Stuart via Kitty Biddle's instant messaging. We've seen it all. We've been following everything. So, but we're totally curious. So, let me just let them introduce themselves because we want to know who you guys are. And so, Stuart, why don't you start?
Yep, I'm Stuart, sitting down here in Sale, Victoria. Hey.
You can't understand him.
Only Rob can't understand me.
Was Stuart saying?
He's trying to speak English. It's all right. Just do it slowly. Stuart is in Australia, as you might tell, and he was also at SciCon. Stuart, yeah, awesome. Okay. Oh, who's the character you're playing, Stuart?
I had Zoe, and I've got Mark and Susanna, and Angela was playing Zoe as well. So there was sort of a brain and a half. After Zoe.
Angela's his wife, and Angela is a complete believer in psychics. So she was. So his wife was half in and half out. She thinks Matt is really, really good. And if he was in Australia, she would be going and giving him money to get a reading because she really believes he's good. So she was half on the fence that she thought he was going to out you guys right there, and she was half on the fence that we were going to expose him. So she didn't know what to think. But she's been following.
She was hoping for a win from us. She was.
Okay, so Michelle, your turn.
Yeah.
You're taking a lunch break.
Yeah, well, it's a bit early. It's 11:15, and there, that's Darwin over there.
Darwin, Australia.
Hey, that's where you're from.
Yeah, she's from Australia. Okay, Rob, you're up. Oh, Michelle, who were you playing?
Oh, no, Vicky.
There's Vicky. Vicky used to be my old character, right? Vicky Lynn?
Vicky's been in all the things now. She's one of the long-running ones.
She has a long
She gave her
history.
to me as a present one time.
Okay, so Rob, you're up.
So, I live in central New Jersey, and I've been on Guerrilla Skeptics since mid-2016, I think, and then Susan pulled me into this craziness. I took over the character of Ed Caffrey, who's been on Facebook for a while, I guess managed by a bunch of people over the years, and I brought him up to date, and I made him sort of the opposite of Kenny Biddle now. He was real things wanted, he was concerned about ghosts in his house, he went out and got an EM meter and proved himself to a ghost. He took orb photos and published them. So I was hoping that would come up, but apparently not. And according to Jay Novella today on the Skeptics Guide, I'm a well-known skeptic, so I'm happy about that.
Okay, Paula.
Hi, I'm Paula. I'm in Los Angeles. I've known Susan and Mark forever from CFILA and the IIG down here in LA, and I've gone to the last 6 TAMs and the last 2 SciCons. And I get roped into going to Skeptic Camp a few times up where Susan is, up in Central California.
That's a long ways.
I was playing Kathy Carson, and that was Katrina. And I can't wait for you to see the page. She went to all the great restaurants in Philadelphia because, she was out of town. listening from LA.
Daniel?
Hey, I'm located in Wellington, New Zealand. I'm on the New Zealand Skeptics Committee. I was playing the character Barbara Davies, the 70-year-old grandma, and yeah, that's me.
You didn't have a form.
I know. There's a lot of characters you guys don't know of because we had people who were not going to the event as supporting roles that were, every time you guys would post something, we had to have somebody go in and like them. And so there's characters, there's more characters than you know of, and they're spilled over and doing all kinds of stuff so that we can do these for other stings too. So, Mark?
Yeah, it is.
Mark?
Me?
Yeah.
What?
We'll say hi or something.
Hi.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't a character, so.
Well, you're just...
Yeah, I mean, my question is, are we going to be able to keep all these Facebook pages for the next round?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Hope so.
Okay, Jim.
Definitely.
Jim, you're next.
I'm Jim. I'm in California, just a little bit north of Susan, and I was playing Gregory Davis. It was not a huge Facebook poster, but I kept him up to date a little bit.
Jim is also GSOW, Rob's GSOW, Michelle's GSOW,
Yeah.
Stuart's GSOW. So huge group of activists here. Okay, so with all that said, they want to know who you are. Who wants to tell us what happened? Because we, like I said, we could just follow along with what we could, but we don't know exactly what happened.
Oh, it looks like I was volunteered, so I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
Basically, we went in, we sat almost as a group. Diana, who played Heather, she sat separate from us. She went in the center. The rest of us, Anna and I, sat in the front row on the right side of the stage. And then Kat and Heather, the real Heather, sat behind us, Mike. We were bypassed completely. Like he barely looked at us. I had a video camera going the whole time, so I had video and audio for you guys.
How did not look at the blue hair?
I know, right? I'm
I know.
He walked right past, like he came down off the stage, he took a look at us, walked past us, and he never came back.
I'm pretty sure I had a better chance with him than she did. But I mean, that's just observation. But he pretty much went off. He bypassed us. He did readings in sections. Like there were sections of seats. So I think there were 5 sections, 5 or 6 sections, and he went section by section. He didn't go bounce around all over the place. He went this section, did readings, and when he did a reading, he had the entire row stand up. So it wasn't just one person. He had up to 15 people stand up at a time, and he would throw out the beginning, like, I'm feeling an illness, and I'm just using these as examples, not actual examples, but like I'm feeling cancer or an illness or this and that, and he would pretty much wait for someone to connect with that, and then
That's what I wanted to ask. With a big audience like that, I wasn't really expecting a big audience. Did he use the old line where he said, does that mean anything to anybody? You know, just so that he could zero in? Yeah.
Every time. There were we estimated about 300 to 350 people that attended.
We thought about 400.
Okay.
Because there was an upper floor to you guys too, and that was empty.
So let me see if I understand this. He had a group of like 10 people stand up, and then he started saying, I'm feeling something, does that mean anything to anybody, or that kind of thing, so that he was able to then go to one person in the line? Is that his method?
I think he did a little variation where he would say, all right, I feel like, he would pick somebody and say, all right, I think your father passed away. And you would make a direct statement like that. And if it was or was not, and I would say like 50-50, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But when he said that, he didn't point to specific people.
Sometimes he did.
Yes, he did. But
Really?
most of the time it didn't turn out, and I think that's my opinion. I think most of the time it didn't turn out to be that person that he made that statement for. Sometimes.
Did he use the old piggyback line? Oh, sometimes it bounces off somebody and will go to someone else. And
Yeah, he said that.
The
Yeah.
dead father, I think he went to the person behind that.
Yeah, the next row.
Yeah, there was sometimes the next row, like behind or in front, or it was
Yeah,
there.
exactly. So how accurate was he?
From my opinion, he wasn't accurate at all.
Good.
I would say he took, and we discussed this. We discussed it before we came on with you guys, and we were stuffing our faces. That he asked a lot of questions. He made general statements and asked a lot of questions and regurgitated the information back to the people he was talking to.
Right.
So he didn't. Yeah. He based the information, his readings, off of information that he was given.
Right.
I didn't see much where he came up with it by himself. There was a few times that he did come up with information. I couldn't see who he was talking to. Like I could see like from afar, but I couldn't see like what they were wearing, any indication. We also, I want to make note too that the venue where they had this was in a different building than the casino. So we actually all went to the casino and hung out by the bar and talked to some people. And there was a sign that said the event center was downstairs. About 20, 25 people followed us downstairs because they were all going to the same place, and it was the wrong place. We ended up walking into another building, like down long hallways into the hotel, which was pretty far away, and then got into the venue where everything was going on. So we didn't actually get to see, we didn't observe anything going on beforehand. If anyone was, a plant looking for information or anything like that. We got there pretty much maybe 15, 20 minutes before the start of the show.
Yeah, and we thought they were assigned seats, but they weren't. It was all general admission. So when we got there, we kind of.
Well, they had a seat number. It was all general admission. People just sat wherever they wanted.
He made a comment about that too. He specifically said he was making a comment that, he didn't have any idea.
Watch, though.
Yeah,
Very
and
interesting.
a nice diamond ring on.
Very interesting.
Huh.
Well, he made about $24,000 today, or.
Well, we were figuring about 16,000 if he had 400 people there, plus the book sales, plus the private readings, plus
The book sales, he was selling it for $10, and it retails for $16.95. He was selling it.
What a deal!
Was he getting a lot? Was there a lot of? You think there was book sales? I mean, was that only the thing he was selling? His books, or do you have like audio or?
No, he had his own. That was the book that he had. It is self-published. It's not through a publisher.
And his mom was selling them.
His mom. The only person he can trust.
When we walked in, I was like, there's a little table, and she was behind the table, and I was like, "Are you his mom?" And she was like, "Oh my God, yeah!" And she ended up giving me a business card, and she's like, "I can't do readings. This is my son's deal, but here's my card."
The book is about 78 to 80 pages long. That's it. It's not much. I read it last night.
Yeah.
Like literally in like 3 hours, I read this book and was done. Piece of shit.
Oh, that's gonna get quoted.
My biggest problem was, and this is something that we did talk about, my biggest problem is that the claims that he makes in this book about what he can do, he did not demonstrate tonight at all.
No.
Of course not.
I was.
You can make all the claims you want in a book.
So, which claim specifically, Ken?
Well, he states, actually specifically, he brings out that he can see clearly and hear clearly the spirits that are around us. He didn't do that because he was getting a lot of stuff wrong. He was getting people wrong. He was getting relatives that had passed over wrong. He didn't describe anyone.
Yeah, not really. Other than a male figure, and he couldn't even point out who the male figure belonged to.
Yeah.
Like, I was disappointed, Mark. You know, I was
Here's what it kind of confirms one of what Susan and I have been, noticing in the last 5 years. It's that the psychics are lazy. They don't have to do any work to make that kind of money. So, I'm not really surprised on one hand. I mean, if you would have seen the accuracy that this other guy did, it was stunning. I mean, I was amazed by it.
You're talking about the other Sting.
Amazed that he was psychic, but that either he had an earphone or he had a really good memory, because he was nailing everybody.
So, other guy.
We're talking about Thomas John, the Sting Operation Pizza Roll.
So we were able to nab him because he, he took stuff off the Facebook pages. So, but the theory is that most of these guys are just frickin' lazy. They just use the scatter shot technique. They just make statement, and it's all questions. If you really knew, he would make statements, not questions.
So I think Susan's supposition has been that when they start out, they do the hot readings because they don't have people phoning all over them, and they have to be more accurate. And then as they get,
I don't think
that's my. He says that's mine. That's my thing.
That's a theory that we think, but we don't really know, because there's so many psychics now. It's hard to know who's hot reading and who isn't. But we know they are. But it's just they really don't have to. But it would seem logical that if they're new and they need to start a following, that would be the way to go.
So you think that maybe we got this guy too far up the stream? He's already got a reputation and doesn't need to do that anymore?
Yeah, I do. I think that either that or he never did it, and people just like him. He's young, he's talented, he's got a gold watch,
Tyler Henry. He actually reminds me a lot of Tyler Henry.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fuzzy sweater psychic. That's the new genre, is the kid that looks so innocent that he couldn't possibly be a crook,
Right.
And his mother was there. That's amazing. Just like Tyler Henry's mom is around.
I mean, he came out.
I'm surprised Mom wasn't knitting,
She's too busy raking in the money.
What's that called?
he was blinged out.
He was blinged out. His jacket.
Like he looked like he should have been in a magic show.
Yeah. He should have been in a magic show.
Should have been in a magic
Liberace, yeah, that's good.
His gold watch could have rivaled the sun when it sparked.
Yeah.
His gold ring that was on his wedding finger.
Yeah, his wedding finger.
It was huge. It looked like a Super Bowl ring. Diamonds and
anyway, don't feel bad, you guys. If anybody's feeling bad, it's all good.
Dude, we saw.
This is just part of the experience, and Susan told me, tell us the positive, Susan. Well, you gave us the 3 goals that you had.
The 4 goals, and it's all positive because the guy doesn't know it yet, but he's been caught to some extent. So,
Also, we really upped our techniques, I think. And each time we do this, it gets better and better. So
we have a 7-day cruise that we can go on. He sent this to me with my book.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's advertising the 7-day Psychic Odyssey.
Can you imagine?
Where's the cruise to?
It's through Holland America, and he's leaving Fort Lauderdale, Half Moon Cay, Grand Turk, Amber Cove, and Key West.
Oh my
It would be
God.
hysterical if something happened to the generator on the ship and it went adrift.
Hey, does he does private readings? Do you guys have any indication of how much those cost and how long the wait would be?
$450, and the wait is 7 months. Yep.
That's for an hour?
That's for an hour? I think on the phone. Yeah.
I wonder if we could pay more and get in faster.
I don't know. I mean,
Because if we wanted to, we could have somebody call and use one of the profiles we have. But the problem with it is I don't want to wait. No, it needs to be somebody who doesn't know anything about what's on those pages.
gotta move on.
But I mean, that's a possibility.
The next round. We got to try and find somebody who's. I really wasn't expecting 400 people. We got to find somebody who's hungrier and is not blinged out. I mean, that's a pretty big indication that the guy is.
If we got him on a call, a private call that was recorded, and he had the Facebook page in front of him, somebody's paying $450. I bet you he's going to read the Facebook page.
Yeah, you could try it, but I don't know.
I don't think he has to. I mean, like we were talking. I mean,
he doesn't have to. He's getting by on the slimmest of odds.
He's confident and cocky because when he does miss,
he does. He blames the reader.
The sitter.
He blames the sitter. He blames the sitter because either if they didn't come up with it, he kept insisting that it was relevant until the sitter went back in their memories to fix that they meant something. When they did, he actually would yell at them and say, "Well, come on now, pay attention to me. Pay attention." Like he yelled at people saying, "Pay attention."
That's what John Edward does. And Kreskin too, by the way. The amazing Kreskin. He gets very impatient with people. In fact, he's been kind of taken off the road because he used to do a thing where people would he would say, "My paycheck is somewhere in the audience, and I'm going to find it just by reading people's thoughts." And as he got older, he started to lose his ability, and he would start yelling at people.
Well, Thomas John yelled at us too. Thomas John was frustrated.
He argued with you because he knew you were wrong.
Yeah. But it's that every time he got into a stuck position where he was trying to predict something and it just was not sticking with anybody, he would make a joke.
Yes.
He would make a joke and get the audience to laugh, and then go more of a, "Oh, this is how the afterlife works" kind of thing, and then
that's Teresa Caputo does that too.
Yeah,
she's so lovable, you know.
Yeah, with her 5-foot hair.
Yeah, so I mean that's part of the deal. You distract people by making the psychic world it's not an exact science. How many times have you heard that?
Yeah.
So, was your impression that he's just cold reading?
Yes.
I believe so.
I think so. I mean, just the way that he went from section to section and row to row, I observed that he was throwing out an idea. He already had something. He would either point to somebody and say, "Your father or passed," or something like that, whether it worked or not. Or he would say, there's a suicide over here, or there's, what was the S? There was an S disease.
No, septic.
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 Septic?
That was failing pretty good. He was
Like somebody died of septic.
That's a big statement.
Transplant to septic.
Yeah. He went to transplant, septic.
Just as a magician, I have a question. I mean, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but it comes to my mind that if he was standing up by the row and then he would say something and then point, do you think he might have been, when he got it right, do you think he was saying it and then looking at the people to see if they responded and then pointing to that person? You know what I'm saying? Like a split second later? Like if you had a group of people and you said septic and one person went, and then he just goes immediately to that person, right? Something like that.
I think he was standing at the end of the aisle. He would an aisle and say, "Everybody here stand up." And then you had that opportunity. I mean, you literally could go from here to here.
It's only a couple of inches. Your pointing is limited to about a foot on your end, and it goes all the way down the line. So anyway, it's just I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that myself.
I can't wait for you guys to
Like I said, I took video. We took video of the entire thing. It's not going to be the best angle sometimes.
Yeah.
We were in the front row, so we were constantly turning around, looking at other people. But I tried to get as we could, and
So he went to the back of the room a lot of the time.
No, he started in the middle. Like the first row that he picked up was actually Jack's row.
Yeah, Jack had to stand up.
And I was so excited. I was like, son of a bitch, he's going to pick the repeater. Yes.
I was wondering.
That's an old Kenny Kingston trick, because everybody in the front rows has to turn around.
Yeah.
And it, by the time he gets to the front, he's already, all the believers are already in his palm,
So
I'd like to see this guy. Is he coming to LA now?
He's all
He's come back here.
He's in the Northeast for the next couple of months.
So, what else do you guys think? What do you think we could have done to? Personally, knowing what everything was going on, I can't imagine anything we could have done that we could have done better.
No, I think from this experience, I think the next time if we do this, we definitely do not sit in the front row. I think we should spread out because we all sat together except for Diana, who went off on her own. She still didn't get picked, but I think we definitely should disperse in the crowd if we can, because that gives us a better chance of them because it really looked like he had a routine. He knew he was coming out. He knew the stage layout, or not the stage, but the audience layout. He knew the sections of the audience, and he knew he was coming here, 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 and here. And that's what he did. He went right in a row around the room. So I definitely think if we spread out more next time, if we have like 6 people or 10 people, we spread out different sections, and we have a better chance of getting called. I don't know if I didn't get picked because I was constantly holding a video camera most of the time. So I kept trying to keep it down low, but he was in the back. I couldn't help it, flip it up because I wanted to get the people.
Right. I don't think so because once you're in there, my opinion is that before the curtain went up and you guys walked in, they had already picked who they would hot read. And so since they didn't go to you specifically and see the woman with the blue hair or the other one or this one or that one, they weren't going to pick you. So if they had by chance picked you, it would have been for a cold read.
Susan, if they had decided to hot read somebody, there would be some very powerful hits, and it doesn't sound like
Right.
it was.
That's what I mean. So once it was already decided he was going to, if he was hot read or not.
There was a few
Did anybody else get really powerful hits then?
There were a few that seemed like they were solid hits, where it was like there was one that had a penny trick, where they talked about a penny meaning something to her father.
Oh, I hate that one.
But see, you have to remember, in an audience that big, we don't know what people he knows.
Right.
That might have been somebody who he's already that has been in another show or knows him, has had a reading, so that's a hot read too. But he doesn't say to the person, "We never met until right now, did we?" He didn't say that to the guy with the penny, did he?
No, he didn't say anything.
No, of course not. So again, these are like kind of there could be random hits here and there, but there's so many ways that he could get those. It's probably just. The idea here was to get stuff that we had fed to him, and that would close it. But.
So Stuart, let me ask Stuart, Paula, the rest of you guys on Laetrile, are there any questions you need to ask them, and see if maybe something happened or something was said that. Because there are things that were written on those Facebook pages that weren't necessarily. How do I say it? Could have been a hit that people attending didn't know would be a hit.
I think we'd have to listen to the audio.
Yeah.
To know.
Too many little things.
My only concern when I was creating the stuff was I wanted to make sure that I wasn't choosing a nickname and a father's name that would be the actual same as the sitter. And so I wasn't able to communicate beforehand to make sure that her nickname from her dad wasn't Kitty and her dad's name wasn't Fred, because those would be 2 hits. So my concern was that making sure that the information we have is very different from the actual sitter's real information.
I don't think that would have mattered in this case, because he was throwing out names here and there and had no idea. Like he threw out a name Chris, and he was talking to Chris. He had no idea. So I don't think he was throwing out names saying like, who is this? Who is that?
And he only said it. He only pulled a few names out.
Yeah, there was only a few names.
Harry.
Yeah. Harry, Fritz.
Was there a Marty? Anybody?
No.
We had one of you had a. It was God, which one of you guys?
Kathy Carson has an Amazon parent named Marty.
Yeah, Kathy has. Yeah. You guys had extensive backstories. It was really funny. Wait, have you guys looked at your Facebook pages yet?
No, I did.
You did? What'd you think?
Now the real fun. Now you can see all the hard work we did.
Like, Disney, I work for Warner, I'm like.
We did try. At one point, I think they were back by Jack's room, and something came up about a child. I think you raised your hand.
Oh yeah, Heather raised her hand. I heard that you raised your hand and tried to get his attention and say it was yours.
And he was like, "No, you were too far away."
Yeah, it's like not
done,
you. And
done
it
with
just
her.
So lazy, these guys. It's like.
it was so rude the way he said it. It was just like, no, it's not you. It's over here.
Sylvia Brown was rude too.
Bacon was pissed off and avoiding us and wasn't even gonna come over there to read me.
So I think the next, and this is, I'm just gonna throw this out because Susan and I have been talking about it. I think we should do one of these group things where it's 12 people and have all 12 of the people be on the team.
Well, gee, six was hard.
No, I know, but we've already got things in place. My point is that.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
No, this is somebody we know takes stuff off Facebook. But I think it'd be hilarious. Imagine if all 400 people in that room were skeptic. What are the odds of that? But that would have been anyway.
The only thing keeping me from doing a group reading
They do
is
group
money.
readings of 12.
It's just they're like so expensive.
Anyway.
I didn't see anything. When he
Yeah.
started, when he would start to read somebody, like throughout the entire session, I did not see him start with anything really specific. It was always your father had passed. Somebody over here has this disease. There was a murder. Like he had brought up a murder and went to one group. And I hate touching this.
He had a murder and a suicide. Did he also had a suicide?
See, when we got in there, he had some stuff. He came up with a murder. He picked a group, and this is from my recollection. Picked the group. He went over and said, "There's a murder over here."
You picked a row.
And I'm looking from my point of view. He was pointing at a row, and he told the row to stand up. And it's going to sound bad, but there was only one black couple in the entire crowd, and he picked that row. And it would happen to be that couple that had a child?
No, it was a murder.
Her
No,
husband, yeah.
husband was
And it
murdered.
had something with drugs, too.
In Philly.
Gangs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a lead.
Oh,
He didn't solve the crime though, did he?
He did say that he works with police.
Oh, I hate those people.
Yes.
And he said that the cops are looking at the car because there's three suspects and the suspect will be found.
And he got it wrong how the guy was killed.
Yeah.
He
He
said
he died in the car.
He died in the
And
car.
she's like, no, he
And
didn't.
she's like, no, he got shot in the car. He died outside the car. So he got it wrong, but he came around and he backpedaled and justified it. But on that note, he also had a suicide that he wrong, where he brought up. He brought up a gun. He brought up a gun. He's like, oh, I see this, and then I see a gun. What does a gun have to do with it? And there was no gun. The guy unfortunately hung himself. I mean, he completely got it wrong, and then kept going with it.
Yeah, and he kept saying that, he's like, well, this guy wasn't sure how he was going to kill himself. And then this rope just appeared, so he decided to hang himself instead of shooting himself.
The opportunity came up, and he did it that way.
So I can't take much more of this.
I'm telling you, I want this guy to go down.
Hey, Jack's got a question.
So to me, this is, I guess, y'all.
Y'all?
Yeah.
to answer or trying to answer, but like after he did his shtick like 5 or 6 times, it became clear to me that he only does cold reading.
Right.
I would say every one of his moves involved looking at a group, almost always a row, asking them to stuff, then starting to work the row.
Right.
You know,
That's
feel
why I said.
other has died, and then someone would go, and then
you point to them.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's like timing with a magician. You look at the expressions on the row, and as soon as you see that flinch, if you can point to that person, it seems like, most people don't make the connection that, wow, he went right, they say later, wow, he went right to that person. Well, he didn't. So that's why it'd be interesting to look at the video.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that he limited it to the people in a row. Like, I took the session with Mark at SciCon, and there was a large room, and Mark was doing hot readings there. What you did, Mark.
Right.
So, obviously, for the whole reading, the more people that are there, the more likely somebody's going to connect.
Right. Right.
Do you think it's odd that he limited it to a row?
Which what?
Can I just say, from my observation of that, both the suicide and the murder stories, he kind of just pointed at half the audience to begin with.
Right.
He was walking to the other half of the audience and said, "I feel a suicide over here," and then we'll have to look at the tape.
Yeah,
It took the guy a while because it wasn't a family member; it was somebody he knew at work.
Right.
So then once that, once we honed in on that, then he stood up the whole row, and talked to just that.
So the initial hit was thrown out to a larger group, and then he narrowed it down to the row, which is
I think both times the murder and the suicide.
I mean, we never have a situation where he literally points to somebody, a specific person, and then makes that murder or suicide.
So my question to y'all is there what should these guys do? What would be the plan for just a cold reading situation like that? Like, I mean, one of the reasons why these guys didn't get called on is that they were in one of the many rows that just didn't get called on.
Yeah.
So I don't think it has anything to do with them. I got called. Not me personally, but my row stood up.
Okay, so
I thought the 2 people out of 15, he did 2 people, and then he asked us all to sit down. And that was generally what he did with every row.
okay, I can answer. I get that question because I had that happen. Go ahead.
Do you have an answer to that, Susan?
Yeah, go ahead, Jackie. You had something else?
The question is like, what should these guys be doing if it's purely a cold reading?
Okay.
Like, I'm thinking maybe I should just jump up and have a sharp intake of breath when it says, you lose a child or something.
Right. So what happened? What happened with Chip Coffee? Paula went to the first event on a Tuesday in LA, and so we got a lot of intel from her group that went. And after Paula had gone, we had the same thing with the fake Facebook pages. And Paula kind of told us that doesn't look like he's hot reading, it's cold reading. So when we went to the event in San Jose 2 days later, we went like Donna did with bright colors and, we want to be picked out of an audience. So what we did is we made friends with the people around us. We were talking to the people in front, behind, to the side, asking them who they wanted to meet. And then we told them who we wanted. And mine was my son, Andrew, who was only 3 years old. He got hit by a car, you guys. It was awful. He was just 3. It was, oh my gosh. And here's his picture, and I was showing the people around me. And then I was with 2 other people. One had somebody who died in 911 in one of the towers, believe it or not. And on the other side, it was somebody whose mother had died. So once we got into the event and we were making friends with everybody in line at the bathroom and everywhere, when the guy come up on stage and he called out, he said something like, "I'm getting a child with an older woman," I went, "Oh!" like that. And the people around us all kind of backed off. They kind of said, "Oh, it's hers." even though, a child with an older a woman, I mean, that's like anything. That's like so general. But they all kind of backed off. And so the psychic turns to me because, I'm the one that made the sharp intake of breath, and I grabbed the woman next to me who was, like that. And then he went and he did a cold reading to me. And then since my people right next to me were just kind of like shaking and all excited and dabbing at their eyes too, he went to the person next to me and the person on the other side of me, cold reading. But because we had told all the audience that we were looking for our mom, our child, and somebody in 9/11, I guess he had overheard that, because that's what he said. He said, he says 9/11. We knew it was ours. So speaking loudly, out loud, making friends, and making the rest of the audience understand that, back off, this is mine. So if he had you guys all stand up in the row, and
people, that's very
well, if you're in a row and he's like this, I'm getting a suicide.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then he points. You could have been like, and he's going to go to you.
Yeah, doing cold reading, you can get away with that.
That's cold reading. You couldn't have done that with a hot read. No, but
I made a point to when we met his mom. I had a picture of my mother and me.
Oh.
And it's an old picture and an old frame, and it was, and the story was my dad had sent it to me. Well, when I met his mom.
Are we leaving?
I hope my mom comes through, and I showed it.
You showed her to the mom?
I showed it to the mom, and I said my mom died when I was just, not too long after this picture was taken. And I said, I really hope my mom's here. I hope he sees my mom. Yeah, it got me nowhere.
But that would have been perfect. No, that's the perfect thing to do. Just make them aware, especially if they think you have money and you're going to go for a private reading.
I showed everybody the picture.
That was that would have been perfect.
Yeah.
You had good odds.
Everybody.
That was great. No, that's exactly. Bye, ladies. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. Whoever's leaving.
Bye, ladies. Make sure you have a good time reading your Facebook pages. But don't post on them. We might need them for something else again.
So
Jack didn't leave, did he?
No,
Jack's still here.
So I have a question, and I've discussed this with Susan before, and I was really never clear on this exactly. So say Kenny and everyone else, you're in one round, and you got selected, and he said you've had a ghost haunting your apartment just since before Christmas. Would anybody have said yes to that?
Yeah, I would have.
So did you know that?
I knew that I was in an apartment that was haunted.
Okay, so I don't know what
Yeah.
you know. That's interesting. Okay.
Well, I was told that, and that I had pictures of orbs. Thank you very much.
I used your book to figure out how to do that.
It's actually going to go off the Dear David story that I wrote about, because it's literally a guy in New York that is in an apartment that he claims is haunted, and he posts pictures of orbs, and it's bullshit, and I debunked the whole thing. So, but I figured I'm just going to use his story and just use that as a background. But he didn't even come near that. He was.
I was concerned to see he did, and I was never clear on how much you guys knew. Susan had us write up everything that we had written for our characters, and then she was going to pass some subset to you folks, and I don't know how much that was.
Yeah, we knew very little, just enough to go on. We made it up. I mean, it's the unfortunate part for our experience. I think we didn't know where the venue was. Like, we thought it was in a different place. Otherwise, we would have been in the big audience room and been able to socialize more. But we were with the people, again, like 20, 25 people that thought it was in the casino, and we talked to them.
Yeah,
and we made friends. We talked to people.
I made some friends.
Yeah, we talked to people. We talked our story. We listened to their story.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I mean, there was a mother and daughter, and the daughter was. I started talking to the daughter, and she's like, "No, I don't believe in this stuff. I don't think it's real." And my inside voice was going, "I'm with you." know you blew up, but I'm with you.
What was the mood of the place? You said that it didn't sound like he was really accurate. Stuart's wife has been watching some of the videos, and from the videos she's seen, she says he's really good.
I thought he was really good too.
And Donna said the same thing. So would you say that was reflected in the thing? And what do you think the general mood for the audience was? Do you feel like they felt like he was great?
I think they did. I think they did feel he was great.
Up to have him sign the book?
Yeah. Yeah, he sold a lot of books, and he had a lot of tears, and a lot of people, I think, stuck to and believed him.
Actually, some of what he did was cool.
Yeah.
Some of what he did was cool.
Like what?
There was one couple in the back that they had lost 2 of their sons.
Yeah.
And he geared in on one of them. It died of a brain aneurysm. And then he found out he didn't. Yeah, he didn't know about the second one. And they told him about the second one. And he's like, oh, I see them both coming in, and the one feels really guilty. Yeah. And he died because his brother died, and he was so upset, and she was sobbing.
Yeah.
What he did was cruel.
And he told her that she still has to celebrate the holidays, and just because they're gone, it doesn't mean that she can't live on. And
he was being a total Greek vampire, because he delved into the you lost these 2, which I only knew one about, or I guessed at one, so I'm going to take credit for the second one.
Yeah.
And then I know that the holidays just passed, and you probably didn't want to celebrate the holidays, which no parent did.
Knife in and keep turning it,
So he just did it, and he kept doing it and taking credit for knowing stuff that he didn't fucking know. And it was.
All right, listen, Susan and I, we know this.
I think this is great. Mark, you and I have been doing this for years, but the other people on this haven't been following this.
It's hard for me to listen to
No,
this
but I think that's super valuable, because people constantly say, what's the harm? There's no problem. So and by saying, go ahead and celebrate the holidays, he would say, I just took the burden off of this mother, and now she's going to be able to celebrate the holidays.
No, they hardly ever say that unless somebody holds their feet to the fire. Then they say, well, I might have done some good, but it's just another person to them, just another dollar.
For $45 fucking, you did some.
Well, 90.
If somebody calls them on it, they will say, well, what you just said, Susan, but they don't make a point of saying, now I've taken this group away from you, because they haven't. They've just re-erupted the whole thing. They've just turned it back into another misery for those people.
I totally relate to what you're saying, Mark, because, you guys, I've worked with some of you guys. You guys know my attitude towards this sometimes, and I write about it. And this was the hardest thing I've had to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. To pretend that I was okay and happy that he was this to people.
Yeah.
Like, really, I seriously wanted to. A few times I would just get up and beat the shit out of him.
I know.
Funny, because of what he was doing to these people. And it was hard. It was really hard not to do anything, not to say anything.
Oh yeah, and she got really, really emotional, and she was sobbing. Then he tried to lighten the mood a little bit and started talking about a cat.
And makes a joke or
and
something like that.
And then he made a joke about this cat, and it just so happened that this couple, before their kids were even born, the guy, her husband, ran over a cat before they were leaving for vacation one time, and he didn't have time to do anything with this cat, so he picked it up and put it in his suitcase and left it outside his house because he was going to bury it when he got back. And then somebody stole the suitcase before they got back from vacation. This
whole story, which was funny, came out because he asked the family about their cat. Wait,
if the cat was lost.
No, they had a kid or something on the other side already, and
the cat was with
the cat was with them on the other side, and they had no idea what they were talking about. So he just kept going until they related to the story.
How many kids were even born?
You're just going off of this shit.
Wait to hear that story.
Just remember, Kenny, it is very frustrating, but you have to remember that I've been thrown out of places for erupting. That's not the way to go.
Yeah, well, he didn't do it. He's saying, I know when I went
You
to
attack the guy, then they win.
I know, but when I did the Chip Coffee one, we were supposed to stay for the ghost hunting part. And I was with those two people, and we all three got called on. And then after that, we were going to go take our picture with Chip. And then after that was the ghost hunting thing. And I'm dabbing at my eyes and all that. We all three got red. And then I bent down really low under the seats, and they came really low, and I told them, we're getting out of here as soon as we can. I feel like I'm going to be sick. And they're like, oh, that's so great. So as soon as it was picture time, we went zoom to the front line and got our pictures taken, and then we're like out. Because I felt sick to my stomach, the things he was saying to people.
I have a question. And were there any dabbers?
There was a lot of people crying.
No, but I mean of our crew.
No, of our crew.
Of our crew.
And he wasn't even near us.
Yeah, he was near us.
So he wouldn't have seen it anyway.
He wasn't watching the audience. He was out in the audience.
He was
and
probably
was
like
at a row.
4 or 5 rows. But you were like 3.
No, I just wondered if anybody was weeping. That's all. It's always
We just didn't have a chance. I mean,
a grief vampire. That's a draw. That's like blood in the water.
Imagine like if you guys saw the pictures of the stage. We were you look at the stage, we were on the right side. The stairs off the stage on the right side only. So he literally down the stairs, almost right in front of us, and walked right by, and that was it.
Oh well.
So the front wasn't good for it in that case. But when we did Thomas John, that front was you just don't know unless we go see the same psychic over and over.
The front rows, in some situations, those are the premium tickets.
Right. They're also the biggest believers.
They're the biggest believers, and they're the ones usually who've already had a reading and are coming back for more. So, in this case, that's why I asked if the seats were numbered and all that. He didn't need to do that. So he's fully confident, and he doesn't need to, what's the word, salt the front couple rows, which is usually what they do.
Do you think his mom was a believer? Go ahead, Paula.
This is why I liked what we did with the Chip Coffee thing, since he was doing 2 events. Our group went to the first event, and we got to see how it was run and what was going on. For Chip Coffee, he had VIPs and friends in the front row, and he visited them, and then people in the aisles, people that he could get to easily. And so when we gave that information, we think that helped people for the next show in San Jose. Whereas this guy, if we knew how he was going to operate, we would have, everyone would have been broken up in smaller groups to give a bigger chance that they would be called.
Yeah.
And if you could do it where you have 2 different groups, if he's meeting 2 different times, I think that would really help out.
Yeah. If we were really after this one person badly, we could take this information we made from this one person and go after him, but
yeah, but he's a cold reader.
Well, but again, we could have.
There's one on every corner.
Like you said, we can't keep catching cold readers. They're all cold readers.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's a learning experience.
Guys.
When we read,
You gotta go, Michelle? You gotta get back to work? Bye, Michelle.
Bye.
We'll talk about you now.
Yeah, thanks for all the hard work, Stuart.
Stuart's not leaving.
No, I'm not down.
That was just Michelle.
I need to get going.
You too, Jim?
This is Jim. I need to get going.
All right.
Bye, Jim.
Thanks for all the help. See ya.
This has been really interesting. Thanks,
Good.
everyone.
We'll talk about you next.
Yeah, talk about me.
Okay, so what I do want to know is, what did you guys... Okay, so my first mission was to find you guys, recruit you, and I think that was brilliant, getting to meet you guys. I mean, I knew Kenny and Donna, but I've never worked with them before.
Right.
And, I could have picked anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world, and I thought, I'd like to do something with Kenny and Donna. I wonder if there's a psychic and Mark found a psychic near, And I said, no, let's see if they're up for it. And then we got to meet you guys. And that was so much fun to be able to meet all these other people. And it just was great because Jack is kind of near. So that was kind of a positive thing. He didn't have to fly to, I'm sure he would have been heartfelt to have to fly to California and be out here.
In January in Connecticut.
I know, I couldn't ask you to come to California at that time. That would have been awful.
We should send Jack to one of the future. He's got way more shows coming up.
Oh my God.
Susan, aren't there some psychics in Bolinas or Carmel?
Oh yeah, you can come to Salinas. We've got them.
Sure must have a lot of psychics running up and down the.
You want to come to California? I know. Do you think his mother knew? What do you think his mother thought?
Sheila? What do you mean, like, thought?
Matt. Does she think he's does she think he's psychic? What is your impression?
She's psychic.
Yeah,
she claims to be psychic.
But she's a wink, wink, nod, nod psychic?
When we talked to her in the beginning, before the show started,
Yeah.
she said, we were talking over with Diana, it was his mother, and Diana actually went up and showed the picture frame of her mom and her, and the mom said, no, I don't do readings during his show because he doesn't like when I do stuff, so I do my own readings, and gave us her card.
Yeah.
So she's a psychic too, but we know that they all know that she's fake. She knows she's fake.
Yeah,
She's a tea leaf reading instructor.
Oh wow. Geez, that must be really hard to read tea leaves.
I never saw a tea leaf.
Making up shit. That must be really hard.
Tea leaf reader. She's a tea leaf reading
Instructor, yeah.
So what did you guys get out of this? Let me start with you guys down here. Stuart, what did you get out of this? It was crazy. Stuart was crazy.
I had hair, I'd be tearing it out.
He tore his hair out. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful for me, but with the time differences, that was killing me. I couldn't post in the morning, you guys. Just sort of getting everyone together to create the stories was difficult at times, but we got there in the end. It was pretty hard work, and I was the only one in the group really that had done this before. Michelle had done it, but she just didn't have time for stuff. She got someone else on board to take her character, and he sort of lost a bit of confidence. And I think just instilling confidence in people to get it done was fairly difficult. And there's just no way you can stuff this stuff up. And having Angela there to help me out, she'd been on bus trips to see John Edward and in stadiums and that sort of thing. And she said it doesn't matter what you say, they just love that sort of stuff. And that's their world. And sort of trying to get inside their heads and get into their world was quite interesting. That was a big learning process for me. I think with Angela posting for Zoe and me posting for Zoe when she couldn't, that was very difficult because I didn't know what she'd said. And my feed was full of David Avocado Wolf, which was really annoying. Really, I don't have to look at him.
I didn't understand why you were saying that because I don't see any of these pages, but you were saying you're sick to death of David Avocado, and I thought, what? What are you talking about? He's not even psychic.
Half a dozen warm and fuzzy memes, and then one saying Big Pharma creates customers, not cures, coming out, and then some more fuzzy feeds and something bad about the education system. And so that drove me nuts. But I finished up unliking him, so I could see everyone in the rest of the feed. So I sort of learned something a little bit there, where things like that come up. Star signs, daily star signs in the feed, just to pad it out. They came up a fair bit as well. But as far as doing it, I've learned.
You're cutting out.
It was fantastic. I think I've lost you. Well,
no, there you are.
Yeah, you've all seized up. Action. Yeah. No, it was really good for me. It was good to have such a good crew, and Kenny sending the photos through this morning. That was terrific. So, that was really good. We had a lot of photos, and Angela, well, it was I don't know, 5 a.m. when I got up, and Angela woke up at about 6:15, and she was watching the feed in Peach Pit, and she yelled out, "Stop posting so many photos! It looks like they're posting photos and not having a good time." I said, "You're looking at the wrong page."
Oh, she thought.
She thought it was in Zoe's feed, but no, we only used half a dozen or so, Paula. It wasn't many.
Yeah.
You did a great
You want
job.
to look too obvious.
Yeah, you did a great job with them.
Rob, what do you think?
Well, I was confused from the get-go because I missed that kickoff meeting. So you guys went off to Aruba, which I barely had any connectivity. By the time I could, I was playing catch-up this whole entire time. So we had the lateral page, the Operation Peach Pit page. Then I had to go to my own to see what was going on for that, and then I had to go to my other browser to do the, posting and to see what was going on with his page. So I did find it a little bit difficult. Especially when we had the two Heathers, one real Heather and one fake Heather. But it was fun coming up with the story and trying to make it consistent and reasonable. When I got the character, he was way too old for Kenny to play him, so I realized that. And that seems to have been for naught, because I don't think it was looked at. But, hell, I did it. So I went and I changed the years he graduated and the years he moved away, and, all that, so that in case it came up, you wouldn't look at it. You don't look like you're 55.
Right.
That might have been a problem.
54 maybe, but not 55.
Good one.
You're number one, Susan.
I'm filming this. I'm filming this.
I'm glad I was around today. The timing worked out so that I could watch the feed while you guys were actually there. That made it really, worth it. That was really great.
Paula?
Well, my account I've had for a while. I started it when I was protesting Scientology. It's about a 10-year-old account or something close to that. But this is probably the third this type of event that it's been used for, but this was the most extensive. I spent the most time adding more stuff to it. I liked, and it's the third name, but it's always been a female with dark hair, so it really worked out. That's why I picked Katrina when we finally got the names of who's going to be there. But I really liked the setup we had, where you had two different Facebook groups, one a big one and one just the people posting, so we wouldn't get so mixed up. And having someone like Stuart there, who, when because when you ask people to do this, they don't all volunteer, because we'll be hitting each other. So you need someone that says, okay, you got to do this, and then you got to do this, and so I need that. We need like a master of ceremonies that just says, okay, well, I've asked everyone to do this. Everyone's afraid of doing the same thing, so I'm going to sign it for a person.
Like a conductor. He was a conductor.
How did Stuart get assigned that role, by the way, or did he volunteer?
He just stepped up and took it.
I just took it. I had to step up because no one else did it, so I just stepped up. Last time we did it, we had.
You're used to telling people what to do.
He's a cop, too, by the guys. He's a cop. Well, Ruth did it last time.
Always pushing them. Yeah.
Ruth did it last time, and she was too busy this time.
We had Ruth and April. They were fantastic, and they were on all the time.
But we did it in 10 days in March, and this time we spent a month, which was way too long. Way too much.
I liked it because it gets to get in case you got a hot reader type person, it got to be more natural looking feed. If you just try to do it in 1 week, I don't think it'll look as realistic.
But we had so many people. We needed more people.
It doesn't matter, of course.
I think we needed more people to manage these accounts, just to take some of the pressure off of you guys.
Yeah. So one thing I would suggest going forward. Oh, I'm sorry. You finished? Finished? Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when I picked this up, there was already a huge hole in the past where there wasn't any posting for, I think it was 2 years. And then I think there was no explanation when he started posting again. And if I was looking at this, I would have thought that was weird. And then when I picked it up, again, it would have been another 2 or 3 years again. And so I said, oh, well, I'm back on Facebook after a long absence because, I made something up. But that's a little bit of a problem. And maybe there's a way to just put minimal stuff on these pages so they're not totally dead for in between.
Well, we could put.
I agree, Rob.
you can put feeds on, from what I understand, that will like post a picture a day or put your horoscope for the day just so that it looks like it's being fed. I think you can just make that run automatically.
Yeah, Mark had that.
Hey, I would say that's a good idea because, I mean, just from my experience in dealing with people that I deal with on social media, I can spot a fake account from the activity or inactivity of what's going on, or the lack of pictures, the lack of friends, the lack of postings of what they're doing. And I judge that off of, like, if I accept somebody as a friend request or when someone's asking questions to my blogs, I always look them up first to see who I'm dealing with.
Yeah, because Kenny's got crazy people.
I got crazy motherfuckers.
I got all the widows in the world, all living in Syria for some reason, or Afghanistan. They want to be my friend. They're all good-looking men. Military.
I would like Kenny to look at all the pages then, just to see if some of them seem to pass his test or not.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Daniel, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. I learned quite a bit. I just wish I had a bit more time to work more on my character, but with the move and quite busy over Christmas and stuff like that, I didn't exactly have the time that I wanted to do. But I tried to put in some hours here and there, and created a 70-year-old grandma who likes to sing.
Is that what you had, a 70-year-old grandmother? What was her name?
Barbara Davis.
Barbara Davis. Oh, she must have been a sweetheart. Maybe that's why she didn't post so much, because she just kind of, she was older.
She didn't like, I don't know, technology, so.
There you go. But you know.
She was busy with her garden.
Yeah, wearing a hat. But you know what, Daniel? It's fine, because if we had maybe 10 more people who had very limited time to do this, all they got to do is post once a week or two, just as filler to keep things kind of moving. And all I got to do is go in and like other people's, just spend an hour, one day a week, 1 hour, go boom, 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 like everything that everybody else has put up, and put up some cat videos and say something, you know, a few comments here, and then wander off and go back to your real life. So, I mean, I think that's what we need, is just kind of like, even with a very limited amount of stuff, it's very helpful. I mean, you didn't have to run a character. I mean, when we were told that there was going to be 6 of you guys going, I told Stuart, and Stuart goes, 6? 4 is going to be incredible. He says, we can't.
A fully new account to add to your collection, so you got,
Yeah, and we
should. And use it another time too, so.
Yeah, so we can share these accounts. So these old accounts, we just pass on the email and the password transfers to somebody else who could, like we were saying, is some of these accounts went, you know, they've been used 3 or 4 times for stings. Okay, so the event team. Who wants to start?
About what?
I want to know what you learned, because that's number 1 and stuff on my goal list here. So I just want to know what you guys learned, what you got out of this.
Well, I learned that.
Remember, I'm videoing.
That's okay. Okay, so I was very hopeful that he actually would know something and would actually be somewhat psychic. That didn't work for me. Like, he totally ruined the whole psychic thing for me.
Aww.
Now it's worth it right there.
I was hopeful. I mean, you know, I enjoyed playing the character. I mean, I totally embraced it.
Fist bump, Mark.
Yeah.
That's right.
I know everybody's, but yeah. I mean, I learned a lot just by watching and listening to him today, and you know, I guess just the way he was reading people and the way he was using fillers, and it was like 2 hours of listening to the same thing over and over again. So, you know, it was like eye-opening for me. You know, after seeing Mark's cold reading, I knew how you did it in the hot readings because we did them in Vegas, and But you know, after watching his video, he did it a little differently, and I was expecting more from him that I didn't get.
Right. That's because he's a fraud. He's not an entertainer.
Oh, there's a difference. Yeah.
A mentalist would have entertained you.
Pointed out, I think, in your seminar that anytime something's on video like that, it's edited up the wazoo, and they only show some good parts.
Right.
I agree that his videos are definitely edited for the good parts.
Yeah.
I think there's hot reads in his videos too. Definitely.
I wouldn't be
Probably need to
surprised.
do a bit more homework on that.
The one with the cameraman?
Or yeah, exactly. I mean, if he's making his own videos, of course.
Well, even
I wouldn't be surprised if some of the people that he kind of did nail today, if they were actors. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I wish we were in the audience a little earlier to talk to more people. Like,
But if they were actors, then they would have
stayed in
there
character.
would have been some direct hits.
Yes.
That's the whole point. So they weren't, because an actor, if he's going to hire an actor and pay them, he's going to make sure that he makes like the story about the cat in the suitcase, and the person's going, "Oh my God, how did you know that?" So no, I don't think he had any actors. But you know, maybe there were actors there, but they weren't working for him.
One was wearing a blue wig.
Oh, I love the wig. I absolutely adored the wig, Donna. That was such a great idea. If he was a hot reader, he would have gone right to you. I really thought you had it.
I wore my charm, everything.
Oh, I love it. So Diana, what'd you think? You're new to this.
I kind of went in with an open mind. I mean, I've had some people die around me lately that I really would have liked them to hit on.
Yeah.
But I went in, I had a ball. I really did. I embraced the character. I had a good time.
Good.
She really did.
I had a good time. But I was
drank a lot too.
I had children.
That helps.
But I was,
The Kathy character was the drunk in this group, though.
Now, Ed wasn't supposed to be. I thought I made that clear. Ed was supposed to be back drinking.
Eddie's not drinking the same.
Eddie was drinking. He just didn't have that much.
But I
They were $8 a piece.
Oh, geez.
But I was disappointed. Even I didn't find him entertaining.
There you go.
He, like, I know they say psychics are for entertainment, they're for this, they're for that. And yeah, you really want to find a real one. But he didn't even have, like, he started out with the showmanship, but then it just got gaudy.
He didn't even do a card trick. God, you know?
For me, it's superficial. His voice irritates me.
Oh,
His
yeah.
accent and way of pronouncing words just grinds me.
That outfit he had on.
You know.
His smile's everywhere, man. He has a good dentist.
He's like Tyler Henry.
He learned it from Tyler Henry.
Did you see my beautiful autographed picture he sent me with my book?
Aww.
He even autographed it for me. Where's the camera here?
Where the ladies?
Yes, look.
Nice.
Aww.
By the way,
Always
if you have
with
that
you.
picture, if you have a parrot cage nearby, you can put it on the bottom.
No, that's a great souvenir to have. This is a good story.
For a dartboard.
So Diana, you would do it again?
Yeah, I'd do it again. Oh yeah, she would be really
Oh,
good
yeah.
at doing it again.
No, give me a character. I got this. Read Heather. She has like this much. That's all there is about Heather. There's no friends. There's no pictures.
I wonder why.
I'm like, really? Heather's got.
Oh, shush.
I read yours. You've got substance.
I
read Gregory.
Okay, so you need to complain. You need to complain to the person who ran your character. He just got the character. Harold got it when? Just recently?
Yeah, he came in late.
He came in late. So the person who ran your character, it's a man. His name is Harold Blaze, and he lives in San Francisco. And so you gotta talk to him.
He's gotta give me
He goes to Burning Man every year.
Oh, he goes to Burning Man. He dresses all in silver. He's all in silver. He's hilarious.
Kenny, how was the bachelor party in Jersey?
Has that happened yet, or is that today? Tomorrow?
Oh, you didn't know about that? Oh,
It probably was a good time because I don't remember. Wait till we get together again.
Yeah, Mike, what'd you think?
Went into it very open-minded, just to try and see things would go. And as things went on, I kind of got disappointed because he did go through everything. He went through very fast. And, you know, it was very general things that he tried to suck somebody into. And then once he had them participating, he kind of, I don't know.
Overdid it?
Yeah, he dwelled on, you know, very specific things, but, you know, it was information they gave him rather than, you know, what he was picking up out of them. So,
there you go.
That's a very good lesson right there. That's he, you know, to the thinking person who has a critical outlook, that's what we need to see. We need to see that shown somehow.
Diana and I picked on each other the whole time.
Oh my God, that was so freaking awesome.
Their characters are good together.
Them two that were a couple and then split up and then had to go to this event together. Awesome. I love just sitting there watching them and drinking. It was great.
I mean, the bartender was like, oh my God.
What's going on?
They were having fun.
I said, we are not together.
Yeah.
Dragged out by security. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was,
Oh, that must have been good. Well, I didn't realize it, but apparently I thought that Gregory wanted to get back together with Heather, but then they told me today that it was actually Heather that was going there hoping to get back together with Greg.
No.
And you guys haven't seen, and this was back in 1990 when you guys were at Berkeley together. So this has been a long time, and I guess she's been looking for a while or something. I thought that was hilarious.
Texting my boyfriend, so.
That was hilarious. Okay, Kenny, what do you think?
Bullshit. This is not my first time visiting a psychic. I've sat in several. I've done cold reading courses. I've tried it on the fly by myself, just doing lectures on photography. I just busted into trying to do cold reading and found that it was pretty easy to do when you had a crowd that was susceptible to that. So what I saw today was typical of cold reading. There was nothing impressive whatsoever about it. I learned how deep into sewer someone can go to be cruel to people by pretending to talk to their loved ones while charging ticket prices. But honestly, the bottom line is I only confirmed what I had already observed before. I didn't see anything different. I didn't see anything that would make me question, like, oh, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to look forward to more into with this individual. Because everything that he came up with, in my opinion, was given to him by the sitter. So he didn't come up with anything. He was a total fraud. And
now you know how Randy feels.
You'll be able to tell Randy when you see him.
Yeah, I hugged him.
You hugged him?
Mm-hmm.
You got cooties?
2 years ago, I got Randy cooties on me.
Oh no, I thought you meant Matt.
No. Oh,
oh yeah,
no,
he's got a huggy picture, yeah.
I hugged him.
You got Matt cooties. Psychic cooties.
Matt cooties.
Twice.
Twice, yeah.
If you start having ammunition, we'll know why. It rubs off.
Twice I was in contact with him, physical contact, and the dumbass didn't know I was on the.
Yeah. It should have radiated, Kenny.
Well, he should have walked in there, and he should have said something's wrong. And right there, you're in the front row. He should have gotten this negative energy.
Who are the 6 people that are here to out me?
Yeah, he should have known that this is 7 if you count Jack. He should have been like, there is something seriously negative.
It didn't happen.
Because he's not psychic.
But the reason why I said now you know how Randy feels is because what we're doing, this is the best we can do. This is it. If the one person, I forget who was in there. The lady with the blue hair. You said, you know, you now you've got the message. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Donna.
Sorry, Donna.
Zoe.
Donna.
Donna Zoe.
Now her eyes are open. So we did this for you, Donna.
Thank
I want to say one thing I did do, and it was something that Don and I discussed beforehand. Like, if there was any legitimacy to this guy, if he was going to pick up with someone that you really wanted to contact, she actually suggested, why don't you write something down, like note somebody that you really do care about that has died, and see what happens. You know,
because he might have got that.
That's what I do, but don't write it down.
Why?
What I do is I have 3 things in my head that nobody knows except me. I've never written it down. I've never told anybody, not even Susan.
Actually, you have.
Well, then, let me ask you.
He was drinking that night, Mark.
Yeah.
No, but he wrote it down so in case he had to go back later and say that I did, right, Kenny?
Oh, I see, yes.
That's my problem. Like, if somebody says, well, they hit on this, if I don't have it written down, I can easily say, well, I changed it in my head. He didn't say what I thought, and that's why I wrote it down, but I did not bring it with me. I wrote it down this morning,
and seal it in an envelope and put it in a safe or something.
I don't think so.
Nobody knew I did it because nobody was awake. Nobody knew I did it. I left it right up on my desk where closed the door. No one got in there. And just, I talked to myself. I said, hey, if this person that I care about is listening and you can hear it, here's the information that I have.
Right.
Matt, and if Matt gives it to me, I'm
a
good.
believer.
I'm good.
Right.
I will report back to all my skeptic friends and tell them, son of a bitch, he got some stuff.
Well, I've been doing it for about 35 years.
I think it's a great idea, Kenny.
But I don't write it down because I don't even trust,
You live alone, Mark.
As a mentalist, if you write something down, it just then you put it somewhere. You never write it down. But that's probably a good idea.
Rob wants to say something.
You have to read the story of Randy. I think it was 2 years about breaking out of this police cell and what he went through, and no one could have possibly guessed he would have went through all that effort for 2 years.
That's right.
Before he did by a magic ability. But it really was just normal. You know the story, right, Mark?
Yeah, with the key. I know it.
Maybe if I heard a little more about it.
No, the key. How he visited the prisons.
I don't know that story.
It was how he got out of the cell that he possibly couldn't have got out of. But it was 2 years earlier he had himself arrested and put into the cell, and then he did something in the cell. I don't remember all the details.
He copied the key.
2 years later, he gets arrested by a different set of people, and he gets out and says, "No way anyone could do that. It had to be magic."
Yeah.
He put that much planning into doing it. So you still have to presuppose something like that rather than magic. That's the point of the story.
That sounds like a Houdini story.
Well, it is Randy.
Being in the same cell. What are the odds these days? But anyway.
So
Randy's got a lot of stories.
So Jack, is there anything that we should hear from you, or are you just observing?
Well, like I said, I just wanted to know if y'all should have some protocol for how to deal with a cold reading. Because, like I said, tonight was
right.
That was a revelation to me. Is that this guy plays it, I think, very safe. I don't think anybody in the audience was a plant. I think he just did the same kind of cold reading for every person in the room. they all had the same kind of narrative shape. He'd start general, start with the row, hone in on one person, then he'd find one or two details that connected very emotionally with that person, right? And then he'd work that a little bit and try to get the mood of the room into this very emotional place, right? And then almost, you can still see this in the tape, but almost every encounter ends with him identifying something in that connection that means to give peace to the person who's in the room. So the bit about the penny, she says, my father always, he would leave me pennies, or there was a penny something, it might have been the smell or a shirt or something that,
Right.
or at one point he says do you keep the TV on a lot?
Oh, does the TV go off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, off. Yeah. And he says that's your
loved one.
dead husband trying to communicate with you, and the communication was always like, you're loved, and I'm sorry for all the things that went wrong in our relationship back when we were both alive, and but it's all good now.
Everybody's in heaven.
Everybody's
good and loving it and dancing around and happy.
I can't wait to get to heaven myself.
That's how the psychic keeps people coming back.
Right.
Because if you take something away from somebody that's emotional and you don't give them something back, they're not coming back and they're not going to like you very much. So
I never knew what closure meant. I hear that term all the time, but now after being Walt Frazier or whatever his name, Matt Frazier. But now that I've met Matt Frazier, I understand what emotional closure is, because he totally delivered it for every person.
Well, that's all that can be said. That's
great.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm still a creep, though.
I want to take him. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. So let me make sure my thing's still running. Hold on, because I got to get this on tape. Batteries are going down. Okay, so what's going to happen is Kenny, if you can get the audio video to myself. Jack, are you going to need that or no?
I already have it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is just send it to me. I'm going to upload it so that our team can look at it and see if there's something more in there that might have happened that we didn't catch. That won't happen like super quick, but if we could get that would be, that'd be helpful. The Leitchell team, just keep your accounts open. I don't care if you want to sit there and fuss on me anymore in the future. We need to decide if we're going to do another sting. I don't think it's going to happen anytime in the next few weeks. But if you can find some way of making it automated, constant posting so that the teams, so they do stay real. If you want to continue posting on them, I'm not going to tell you no, but you've done your job. I'm so happy and proud of you guys for doing it.
It should take a month next time. We should be able to go into
right, but we don't know if we're going to do anything again. This is a lot to ask for people to do, and I don't want to be asking people to do it. If anything, I might get another group of people together and if you wanted to stay in it, that'd be fine, to help continue keeping the pages. But at this moment, I'm not planning on doing that. But go ahead and keep them open. If we decide we're going to lock them down for nobody to look at, we'll change that later. But I know that all the people who went to the event want to definitely go through those pages. I've been taking screenshots, so I know I have some way of looking at them. And then the next thing is Jack's going to go off in his little retreat somewhere, I guess, someplace nice and warm and write. And then, can you just tell us briefly about that process of what to expect is going to happen from you next?
Well, if y'all going to analyze the tape, I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to interview you or you and Mark at some point about
whoever's going to look at it. Okay.
Yeah, but and then I might, after I go over my notes, I might want to talk to any of y'all. By the way, both people who created the characters and the folks who went out into the room. But and so after I review all my notes, typically I'll do some phone calls, and then I'll
that's
write
fine.
these.
And we're hoping that he's going to do the previous sting, which was a success. So that would be
probably the previous two, if you're cool. Right?
If you can go as far back as you want. We have people who would like to tell you about our other sting that are that know the guy because he's a felon. I mean, I don't know if he was a felon, but he was arrested for check fraud and some other things, and now he's a psychic. So they'd love to tell you. He was a drag queen and.
Drag queen, wasn't he?
Yeah. Very interesting character. He's gonna have a great fun. And then so after all this goes, then you've got to write it. And,
what's it?
Thomas John?
Thomas John, right?
John Thomas?
John Thomas?
No, Thomas John.
Thomas John. Okay, yeah. Okay, excellent. Yeah, no, we're definitely going to work on him. He's too good to miss.
Oh, I know. So then you write this all up, then it goes through a fact-checking process.
And then at some point in there, I'll find out when it's going to be published. And I'll let y'all know.
So we're talking late March, probably.
At the earliest.
Okay. So my mission to you guys is that you could tell people about what you went through, what you experienced, but do not give any relevant information that would give it away, like specifically you went to this casino on this day, or anything that would that could possibly hint to Matt or people.
Don't mention Thomas John either.
Yeah, and don't mention Thomas John. But you're fine to tell people that you did this sting and it was so much fun, or you learned this. I mean, fine. I don't care. The more the merrier, because we want to get a lot of interest in the skeptic community, because number one on my list was to educate the skeptic community and get them realizing that there's things that they can do, and it didn't cost us hardly anything. And the various skeptic groups, like in New Zealand, I mean, you guys could do something like this in New Zealand. You could do this in Australia with the Australian Skeptics group. But what I wanted to do is show that location doesn't mean anything. Just having people from all over, it was so much more powerful, because when you're trying to do a group in a certain area, a lot of times you got one person's very passionate about it and everybody else is like, oh, that's great, but I'm too busy. But this way, what we were able to do is take people, you, from all over the world, and pull them together, and using Facebook, which is free, and make it happen. So I was trying to show something different to educate the world, the skeptic community. So once Jack's story is out, at the earliest late March, then you guys can talk as much. In fact, I want you to do as much as you want. You could talk about your own experiences. You could do it at a skeptic camp. You could write articles. You could do interviews. I don't care. Just go and get the story out and talk to people about how you did it. And as we do more